Yeah, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's podcast. My name is Ifedi Okeke. We'll be looking at Ekwulobia proposed flyover developing story. It's no longer a news that a major project has been flagged off in Ekwulobia town. This project has drawn significant attention from business people, landlords, and residents of these affected areas. And the purpose of this is to look at some issues, the purpose of the project, as has been outlined by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, and also looking at issues people have raised concerning the proposed project, sorry. Ekwulobia proposed flyover, a developing story. The Anambra State Governor, in his solution project, had recently flagged off our construction project in Ekwulobia. Well, in the recent time, the marking of some buildings has sparked mixed reactions among traders and some stakeholders in the area. The Nanka Ekwulobia Road has a major, the Nanka Ekwulobia and Oga Road has a major roundabout in Ekwulobia with numerous businesses in the area. It houses businesses such as building materials, petrol stations, at least 5 commercial banks in the area. You have telephone and accessory dealers, major motor parks, both central and privately owned parks with other activities. You also have the Ekwulobia roundabout it houses good number of stores, story buildings, among others. As such, it serves as the busiest and the most strategic point in Agwata for economic, commercial, and other purposes. The Ekwulobia town is a nodal town that links up several other towns beyond Agwata, spanning through Idemili, Orumba, Nnewi in Anambra State, and it is a connecting town to neighboring states, Imo. Well, the project was flagged off on the 16th of March by the Executive Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Professor Chukwumacha Soludo, with a timeline and with a significant purpose. Well, the project was, according to what was stated in the official page of His Excellency, the purpose of the project is to transform Ekwulobia town into a model city. To achieve this very task, on the 16th of March 2023, His Excellency has flagged off the construction of a flyover, a modern bus terminal, adjoining roads, security building, and a fire station, all in the marked area. Let's look at this, maybe this. The project will be handled by AG Vision Construction Limited. Well, haven't seen the purpose of which these projects were commissioned. Were flagged off, the vision and everything, the intentions of the governor. The project is expected to be delivered within 18 months. from the period of inception to the completion. This and more, according to the governor, will engender his desire and plan for the repositioning of Ekwulobia town. Ekwulobia been listed as a fast emerging urban center. Fast emerging urban center. If the above mentioned projects are successfully completed, that is the flyover, a modern bus terminal, adjoining road, security building, if they are all completed successfully, the expected result will be as follows. Ekwulobia will now emerge as an ideal urban center. There will be ease of movement from Anambra State into Imo State through the Oga Akokwa corridor. This summary of the proposed project were called from the official statement as was published in the official social media handle of the Executive Governor of Anambra State, CC Soludo CFR, March 16th, 2023. Now, the intents are clear, the vision is clear, and what the governor has stated as the plan for this project, I have tried to summarize them, but there is always a reaction to any new project that will come in, whether it's a community, in a state, or in a nation. There are some issues that we intend to look at briefly. Look at these issues that are front burners, issues that are bordered on the proposed project. Of course, there's no gain without pain. Urbanization and transition of any nation, state in development takes the same process everywhere in the world. The government must have the will and the people must pay the price. But some of the issues include, do we now have a government with the will, and do we also have a corresponding citizens with the price, ready to pay the price? Those are some of the issues. But let me just outline some of the, although we have made efforts to bring in stakeholders from the town, we'll do that in the next podcast. For this very podcast, I just want to lay down some issues just to carry our viewers along, what we could find on the street from the proposed project. We looked at generally from business people in the area. We've been able to listen to some landlords. Some of them have sent us their views, but in due course, we'll bring in some of the stakeholders to speak as authorities on behalf of the community and to let us know what details that we need to know. But here is a plan by the state governor to bring in a new project that will transform a community into an ideal urban area. A lot of things will follow for this project to be done. The issues at the front burner as follows. The already established parks in the place where these projects are supposed to take place, both private and public, domicile in the affected areas for these projects. What are their fates before and during the 1 year and 6 months construction? That is the 18 months construction exercise. That's one. The other issue includes, these are some of the issues that we wanted to look at briefly. We have looked at the park. Is there a resettlement plan for these private and public parks already domiciled in the affected areas. Their resettlement plan. What are these resettlement plans? Either from the government or from the people. So some of these things, this is one of the major issues that we've seen. Any formal arrangement between the state and the landlords of the affected facilities. And by landlords, we mean people whose documents meet the standard regulation. Yeah, standard regulation for land ownership as enshrined in the law. So issues of whether there are conversation between the state actors, the government, and the stakeholders, those who own legitimate properties in those areas. Those are some of the probing issues that are in the front burner as regards this new upcoming project. Again, issues of what is the level of conversation? We're talking about the depth of conversation. What level of conversation exists between the Ekwulobia Traders and Allied Workers Association, the ETAWA, the government, and the business owners in the affected areas? It is important details of decent conversations are made open and all stakeholders clarified with the state of affairs going forward to keep everybody on the same page. The umbrella body that heads the business association and allied workers. The question is, what is the conversation? And if there is any conversation, what is the level of discussion so far between this body, the government, and business people? It's a very important aspect. The other issue is, have the people been served notice for evacuation? How and what level of the notice and through which means are the businesses, people, and stakeholders being spoken to? Very important, because experience shows that during events of this kind, either that some people feign not being carried along or there is a communication gap. So the question in this item number 4 and number 3 is, what is the level of communication in terms of notices? When is the evacuation notice going to expire? When is the demolition going to begin? What is the resettlement plan? If there is any, these things they are not things that should be kept away, so that everybody who has a stake in the areas affected will be carried along openly. It is not a private conversation. There should be a roundtable and open. Anybody who has trade or business and has shelter or building in these areas should be on the same page. And it's one of the issues on the front burner that we want to highlight. And like I said, we will make more effort to bring in stakeholders of these areas, the markets, people who have businesses in those areas that are affected, both tenants and landlords. We'll bring them to speak, to know how their reactions, what is the state of all these things that were raised so far. Now, another issue is considering the nature of Ekwulobia, any palliative or bypass put in place to forestall a possible gridlock along the major roads for commuters making their way through to other places during this 1 year and 6 months of this project. Well, there is no pain without a price. Somebody have to pay. There's no gain without a price. Every gain comes with a pain. It is true the people have to sacrifice. It's also true that communication gap ought not to exist. Now, the question is, one of the solutions this project is intended to provide is to mitigate and reduce gridlock, stop gridlock that you have seen from those cliffs. Now, during this project, we expect to have some level of limited access, if possible, a limited access to the actual road. And this affects commuters, people who are innocently traveling maybe from Oka to Akokwa, or maybe traveling for their own business. Is there a plan by this time around? This has to do with the government to ameliorate a possible difficulty that will emanate from this. Is there a bypass? To don't forget, the question is for the central parks, because we have initially stated that the Ekwulobia roundabout has a major park. It has private park also, beside the businesses and commercial banks situated there. Is there a resettlement plan? If there is, where is it located? What is the arrangement for resettlement? Because for a number of persons, the park might be the only source of livelihood. And the businesses, I don't know if there's a resettlement plan. So those are the issues on the front burner that we want to be considering. We'll be bringing in guests and relevant stakeholders who can appropriately speak on this and let us know what is the resettlement plan? What is the other option? Is the group of people in a very crucial conversation? I mean, the stakeholders. How about the landlord? Is there a crucial understanding as to the way forward? Yes, the project is for the good of the people. And from our findings, the people that we have heard from appreciate the governor's approach for urbanization, for facelift of the area. Of course, this project for some people is long overdue. The other question people are asking, is the project the first thing to be done, or it should be the second or the third? If it is not the first, what is the first thing that ought to be in place? Some of these issues, we will bring people who can make inputs on the updates and the way forward. Well, these issues came up as soon as some agents of people who are believed to be agents of the government came marking some of the properties that we have showed you on the first clip. There were some level of agitation. People were worried. Is the demolition starting today? Is it starting tomorrow? And quite a number of buildings and projects have been marked for some for partial evacuation and demolition, others for complete demolition. So the normal agitation is there. People are worried. When is this thing going to start? What is the way forward? You know, you have a lot of questions coming from this very project. And we will appreciate you, our viewers, to please join us in the subsequent conversation. We'll be bringing in the stakeholders, those that we have on our list, to help us answer some of these questions. Let us know where are we and to what extent are the information between the state government, the leaders of the affected areas, where the leaders of the markets in the affected area, business in the affected area, and their people. Because if there is a conversation between the government that, okay, on so and so, let it be like this, between the government representatives and the leaders, there must be also an appropriate conversation, a transfer of the same clarity to those who do business, but they are not even experts in the leadership. And if there is none, then what is the plan? What next? What is the fate of the people? Because whereas a woman will have to go through a 9-month pregnancy to be able to, with a lot of excruciating pain, to be able to give birth to a bouncing baby, and the baby becomes the celebration. That is the prize. The period of the pregnancy is the prize to give birth to a baby. The people have to go through a process, but there must be some level of conversation. And it is this conversation that we are calling for, to know to what extent has there been conversation, what are the provisions on ground, what is the alternatives, a palliative measure to mitigate a possible challenge that would come from this all-important proposed project. Once again, my name is Ifedi KK. I'm your host on Gist Time, live on Agwata News TV. We appreciate your comments. comments from the comment section on the YouTube page, Facebook. Please drop your comments so that it will guide us to know exactly how you feel and a possible suggestions. Perhaps it will add to the issues at hand and the better ways to move from here. Thank you very, very much. We will be back again. Thank you.